What's happening, everybody? I am not by myself. Now I am. I think Miggy was trying to hit that too. We got a big show on cannabis legalization news. We have some stuff out of the White House. No, new House Speaker and what that means for marijuana reform. White House, we're still waiting on DEA to reschedule it over to Schedule 3. And speaking of, we have a lawyer, a story from him that has sued to try to get that letter from August 29th that nobody's seen except for Bloomberg News and a few people that have confirmed they saw it. We have a 420 somewhere. Our guest is not able to make it. We have to reschedule a Strange Show. Matt, shout out to him and his channel. We have some state news, including Iowa. Iowa's made the cut, never does. It's not in a good way. Ohio, Michigan, Maryland is in the news. New York, Florida, more, and then some international, Illinois. Let's go ahead, get into some cannabis legalization news and bring on Miggy.
Yo,
what's happening, Miggy? You got a cat in the back, man.
I do. I had one on the table too. Got under a cat attack. Watch out.
How many cats do you have?
I got two. They're sisters. We couldn't separate the litter, so or them because there's more. There's always more in a litter than two.
Yeah. And if you guys like cats, you should really like and subscribe to the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, because it really is brought to you by cats.
Cats and dogs. Dogs guard the house. Cats protect the mice.
There we go. Speaking of cats, herd of cats, Congress.
Yes.
So they ousted Kevin McCarthy, and the Marijuana Moments has written an article about what a new House Speaker will mean for marijuana reform, including banking. Remember how we did the report on the Safer Banking Act?
Yeah, it just went through, right? We're out of committee.
Well, it's out of committee. It gets a floor vote. But then again, it's just like the last time they passed the MORE Act. They have actually voted to legalize weed before in Congress. It was just it was a Democratic Congress and a Republican Senate. And so let's say the Senate passes it and it goes to the House. It's going nowhere. The House kicked out their own speaker.
And then, I mean, really, overall, we're just in a stalemate, right? Like, as soon as the House is kind of shut down, what's the point, right? Does the Senate really have what with the powers of government, the three branches and whatnot? Are we not going to pause for any sort of legislation to come through at all, no matter what?
Well, it's going to be like what speaker gets to control the narrative in that House, because it's only 9 months into the 2-year cycle. The election is in next November, but that's still 13 months away. And therefore, it is going to take a turn, maybe for the worse, because the two people that are actually vying for the job, let's put that one back up. Who does it say that actually is vying for the job? It says that it is a Jim Jordan, who's a Republican out of Ohio, and then Majority Leader Steve Scalise, which is a Republican out of Louisiana. They've both announced that they're running for the House position, but both of them are quite bad when it comes to cannabis reform, staunch not supporters, as opposed to if Representative Mace from South Carolina, who has put forth her own legislation for legalizing it, became Speaker of the House. That would be much more encouraging for our industry.
Well, and then, the rundown is they go through the votes of both Scalise and Jordan. I mean, either one's not a great decision because, Jordan's like the protector of people being molested, and Scalise's he actually compares himself to David Duke. And if you don't know who that guy was, he was a former KKK guy. So But what the point of their article, though, like you were saying, it'll be like a shift in House Majority Whip and all this other positions of power that, I mean, the lower level, sure, that's great if we get more people involved, but we still need to get the goddamn top level in, right? Like, speaker sets the schedules, speakers say, the process is going to happen and play, because they can take this down the road for as long as they want, can't they? I mean, as a leader,
they can until they run out of money in about 5 weeks. Hopefully, we get our conditional license before the government shuts down. But I'm hopeful that we get it by October 28th, because that's when their 60-day review period for completeness is over. And so, hey, Miggy and I should have a cannabis license. We'll bring that on the show once we get the conditional license. That'll be fun.
No doubt. But with this pause, though, right, there's nothing any more legislation that needs to be happening, because it's going to get stuck in either or, right? Because with one part of the parliamentary part down, it's kind of
it's who can bring it up. And so so let's say Safer gets out of the Senate and then it heads on over to the House. but Jordan or Scalise is in charge as the speaker. They have voted against every single cannabis measure that has gone before them since they entered office way back in 2007 and 8, which really doesn't seem that way back, but it was like 15 or 16 years ago. So that is scary. Okay, so there you go. If that happens, that's going to be their official party line. So you're going to see them vote 95% against, or not allow it to come up for a vote even.
Yeah,
and then you go and you get reelected. So the real hope is that in 2024, with the Republicans showing like how disorganized they are, and if you guys like them, cool, I don't care. But they fired their own boss after 9 months, and now they have to figure out who is going to lead the party. And it looks like their nomination for president is going, not a convicted felon, maybe not yet, but could be a convicted felon. We'll see.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to lose bad.
But see, spanked. I really do think that, but I just really wish the process was a lot faster. Like the whole judicial, the proper, and then again, business is kind of the same way, right? Like we won our license, how long ago? Months ago?
It's only been, it's been approximately 3 months. They announced it on July 13th.
Okay. So then we got some things to line up, but we still do not have the actual paperwork in our hands until October, like you're saying. So there's a timeline for all this stuff. Process, right. And with this one though, I mean, these guys are really a shit show. I mean, just the things they're throwing out there. I mean, the way they're even able to politicize this recent events with Israel and Iran, right? Like they're talking about how like we gave them this money where that's not what happened. And to keep filling the world with bullshit, you're not going to have to, you're not informing your people, which is unfortunate. It seems like they're just keeping this bar of ignorance all high.
True that. But progress is happening. You can't say that progress isn't happening because of what came out this past summer. And so like there's Vincente, which used to be known as Vincente Cederberg, one of the largest cannabis law firms in the country, predicting that it could be as early as the end of the year that cannabis is rescheduled. But this is out of Marijuana Moment. A lawyer has filed a suit against the feds for a copy of the Biden administration's marijuana rescheduling letter because nobody's seen it yet.
Yeah, this imaginary thing that he told everybody I mean, he did make the statement, right? I told what about the DOJ? I would like to see that one too. Besides the Department of Health, I would like to see all of them. I'd like to see the whole mandate laid out.
Yeah, so this is the one. Yeah. So this is like that letter from HHS, and the same day published. So Bloomberg News is the only person that's seen it, but HHS Assistant Secretary of Health Rachel Levin to DEA Administrator Ann Milgram. That letter, where is it? And it provided its schedule recommendations, moved down to Schedule 3. Where is this? And so hopefully they'll see it within 20 days. We'll have a copy of this letter, and then we can start talking about it. But I think they're going to politicize the crap out of scheduling or rescheduling cannabis and use it for votes next time. And then they could try to bring these votes up that are very popular for cannabis in the Congress, and then use what is your position on Schedule 3 in the debates. And so, if they say, "Oh, I'm going to win, I'm going to reschedule," I don't think Trump would say that.
No,
but maybe we'll see.
I don't think he knows what it means.
Well, no, hopefully whoever is coaching him will explain that to him before the debate.
I can just see it's going to be the greatest of all legalizations in the world. It's going to be the best.
It's going to be a perfect legalization.
Perfect. So we got your social equity incubator to talk about.
We do. I mean, I didn't get a chance to review the news that well.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. We're not going to talk about social equity incubators.
Okay.
That shouldn't be on the notes.
Oh, I just go through the notes and click the links that you want to go according to. So we got New York.
Well, I'm supposed to go through the news before, but my weekends are busy. I don't work on weekends really, and some people say that I do, but and then I was putting together a desk because we got more offices coming in the office.
Nice, congratulations.
Sure,
busy work. It's good, man. It's good to be busy. So what you got going on in New York, man?
New York has license windows going on right now. So New York has opened their licensing window. It is a crazy thing. New York's licensing window opened and closed on the same day. And
Damn.
again, that is a little bit of a misnomer. It opened like 2 days before it closed. But
What?
if you wanted to have your real estate, and so you could be given super first priority so that you can actually get operational, you needed your real estate on the 4th, because
Okay.
then you had to go through like a period of real estate review. So like New York really was a tight deadline window, and it turns out it's going to be a lottery. So we may do some work similar to what we did in Missouri in New York, but we don't have very long to do it. We only have until December 8th or something like that, I believe. It's a 2-month window in Maryland that we're really concentrating on. That's just a 30-day window. Social equity is being prioritized in either one. And Miggy and I will put together a social equity plan for, because we need to have a job fair for the dispensary for hiring and promoting social equity applicants. So we do need to create a funnel for that, and then we'll start promoting it. But right now we're just going to keep our heads down because Maryland's crazy.
Wow. I mean, for us, I think when we crack ground on the first of the store, it'll be awesome. So then we can start making more plans. But New York, though, man, what do you not see any lawsuits though happening when it comes to like the timeline? The fact that they only had 2 days to jump in.
New York's been 2 years of straight lawsuits.
Right.
But again, like the real skinny on it is that there's going to be another 1,500 licenses in New York that are released. Between 500 and 1,000 of them are going to be retail dispensaries. If you already have one of those retail dispensaries through a card license, you should apply again, is what people are saying, so that you can fix whatever type of legal limbo your card license was in the first place. Because now you have 2 months to fix it. And so go ahead and do it. Not only that, there's indoor cultivation for tier 1, tier 2, and then there's limited licenses after that. So it appears that there might be 1,000 retail dispensaries, which means 1 per 19,000 New Yorkers. So this may be the only time for you to get a license in New York, or the statute does not mention any type of caps like other limited market states, Illinois, Virginia, Maryland. However, we'll see. They are giving out so many.
Right on, dude. Yeah, it's all you. You're involved in New York. I'm not. I'm just trying to get into Illinois.
Oh, no, we're all over the place. And again, Illinois is Illinois if you're not from here, and that's okay. But regulators, they're encouraging the card holders to apply again during the October 4th to December 4th window. And not only that, they are encouraging all other conditional license holders to apply again. And so this is one way that the state is using its program to moot lawsuits. $1,000 for general applications, $500 for social equity. And then let's see here. New Yorkers decided against implementing a merit-based style system for issuing licenses, and instead opted for a lottery random order queuing process style to stop lawsuits. Now, it's interesting that there's only going to be so many pieces of real estate that are ready to go, and it's going to be a lottery. So it is a real estate game in New York. And then there's strategies that we've used before. We used them in Ohio. We used them in Missouri. We didn't need them in Maryland or in Illinois, but they work. And so if you do want a shot at winning a New York license, we may take you as a client. It depends, but we'll be over at cannabisindustry.lawyer.com. The New York application process is strange in the sense that if you don't already have the real estate, then it really is just like disclosures. So the same thing that we kind of had to do, where you just fill out information about yourself, and then you're entered into a lottery for $500.
And I think though the reverse game of this whole situation of any state in any legalization process is that it is a real estate game, right? I mean, that's the one thing I saw during medical days was when here in Washington State, when it was just medical, I saw a lot of threats being put on the landlords because the feds were trying to crack down, or I saw landlords getting greedy and decided to bump up the rates by another 50%, which is still huge.
Landlords getting greedy is still a thing. Like some of the people in Jersey just can't believe it, and so that Jersey, it's called green zoning. So that green zoning that's happening in New Jersey is moving to New York. We really don't have it as much in Illinois because there's so few licenses that there's more real estate available than licenses. And then the zoning isn't like as hyper restrictive as it is in like a New Jersey. But yeah, there's just more space out here. We have more land, less people.
Well, and your limited license is very limited. Like you're probably one of the more limited licensed states. So, yay for us. But in the meantime, we still got like the corruption in Arizona, Trulieve.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh,
these guys having a hard time getting a lawyer in New York, or they're just busy because like New York's been trying to get in on this for 2 years, and then it comes out, and there really isn't an application. Like we didn't really have an application in Illinois. There's really not an application in New York. You just make disclosures. You don't have to do like all of your plans like you do in New Jersey. Mm-hmm. And so I'm assuming that we are going to need to have those before we get operational. I don't know that for a fact. We'll find out. I mean, like I've done the 1536 applications and gotten dispensaries operational before in Illinois. So we'll be good, but it'll be interesting just from my vantage point to be like, oh, so now that you're doing it this way. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's all gamified. All these guys. They're all making up as they go.
Well, there's also this type of stuff that happens. We'd have some time. Trulieve alleges kickbacks in Arizona. Insiders say the pay-to-play. Oh boy, I'm gonna have to work on that. Unique New York. Pay-to-play. That's right. Insiders say the pay-to-play problem is well known. Trips to the Bahamas, Rolex watches, expensive cars, exclusive concert tickets, or just my favorite, bags of cash. This is from John Schroyer at the Green Market Report. Came out in about a week ago. Same concepts. Then shout out to Dimitri Downing, CEO of META, the Arizona's, which is trying to go national now, the Marijuana Industry Trade Association. Those are all the same concepts. It's just paying for shelf space in one way or another, says Dimitri Downing. And so shout out to him. We'll be at MJ Biz. We were just at Benzinga in Chicago, and we make some really interesting content. Some of that will be coming on the channel, and more of that you can find over at Mita's lawsuit. But this is pay-to-play commercial bribery scheme in Arizona from Trulieve, subleases. $350,000 to $600,000 for a sublease by purchasing one of the state-issued vertically issued permits in the secondary market is $8 to $9 million for the social equity licenses, or $15 to $20 million for a dual medical recreational license.
What? You don't got $20 million in your pocket?
Yeah, or social equity is $8 to $9 million.
Well, I'm talking about liquidity. We're gonna float it for a little bit. Once you bait a license, you gotta pretend like you're in business for a little bit. So yeah, $20 million. Let's do it.
Yeah, $20 million.
It's almost that time. Packing your bowls. Oh, look at that.
People packing their bowls. Oh, hey, hang on a second. Let me just go grab something over here because you see, you have to go that. You have to unselect and then select, and then it'll be 4:20 somewhere for at least another minute.
There we go.
I tell you, that is a good one. And one of the things that we were going to talk about, and we've been focused on over at Collateral Base, which is bringing you the podcast, shout out to them, is this state, Maryland. Maryland last month did $90.5 million in September sales. Do you know how many dispensaries are in Maryland?
No.
100. Do you know what that means? That is $950,000 on an average dispensary last month.
In a month? Oh man, that's
in a month.
And they're
on average. That's an average dispense because like there's 100. They did 90 million. Jesus. 90.5. 90.5 divided by 100. Dude, that's some cheddar right there. So like we're getting excited about the Maryland applications.
Are they limited right now? I mean, as far as like this next Maryland round of applications, is that going to be another social equity round, or is that just an open?
It's just like Illinois. And so it is only social equity, and it's an extremely limited market state. So they have their application rounds that are currently kind of open right now. And then by kind of open, they are doing it backwards from how Illinois did it. Illinois did it by like we applied, and then we're in the 60-day period to prove that you were social equity, and we did all the paperwork and submitted it all to them. And so they have 60 days, which expires on the 28th, to like let us know if there's anything wrong or if our paperwork's in order and the license issues. Maryland switched that. And so Maryland is right now, like we would have had all your paperwork and given it to them. And then they would have said, yes, you're social equity. And then they do the lottery. And so it's just 6 of one, half a dozen of another, I guess. But, Missouri did it the same way Illinois did, where they hold the lottery and then they give you time to prove that you're social equity.
It seems to me Well, I mean, I like our way better. The way that, hey, prove you're eligible, and then you can have to give us the business plan, opposed to give us a business plan for something that you may or may not fucking get a chance to have, and that to me is the hard part of this whole gamble, right? Like, you give me the money now because you may or may not have a chance to have future, equity in some of this long-standing weird, because the cannabis industry is not what I used to think it was when I used to buy quarter pounds and sell them for a quarter the price an ounce, just so I can buy my own ounce. You know what I mean? Like, I understand business and numbers, but what the real business is like it's the stuff you've been doing, man, with like C corp lawyering, S corps, all the different equity investments and different diversion. It's just it makes my brain bleed and my heart cry.
Sorry about that, bro. But what we're doing to prepare for helping applicants get in on this 90.5 million, and so they open more stores, sales go up. Like Michigan is killing Illinois on sales, but they're going to be quite lucrative in Maryland, and it's a lottery. It's a lottery over there. So after you've been social equity certified, we got some template sets that we've made. And these templates are really what you need to then get in to the actual lottery, because there's different types of licenses, the dispensary, the grower, and then the infuser or processor or extractor, whatever they're calling it over there. They're calling it a processor. There's that one. And so they have 3 license types, and they have micro versions. Okay. And each one of them has to have an application that includes 3 pieces of narrative. We still haven't seen all those pieces of narrative, so we just kind of used all the regulations and drafted them for you. But that's it. So it's a diversity plan, operating plan, and another one. I need to update this webpage to say what 3 plans you get.
But that's at the industry lawyer website, right?
No, this is at samcart.collateralbase. So there's links to it, and if you are on our email list, we've been blasting these things out. I can also send it out to the nice people that are tuning in and put it in the live chat.
What does it cost one to say get your package, and then also the package to enter into the state then?
The state thing's pretty expensive, and so the state thing, if it's a micro license, is $1,000, and if it's a macro license, just a standard license, it's $5,000. So our packages are commensurate with other providers that we found online. So $6,797.
Okay,
that's like $12,000 for, and they're all social equity, and it's a lottery. But you have to 3 things of narrative to be able to get in, and they still haven't told us what they are. Right,
and then I imagine after that initial payment, whatever, there's support too. I'm just trying to sell you, man.
No. Like you get in, and then those are your 3 things. Good luck. You can call us for more, because I think the whole thing, you then have to get operational and be compliant, just like any other Maryland business. And so I think the whole thing, like if you're going to consult hands-on and by the hour or whatever, it's going to be 6 figures. $120,000, something like that, to get completely operational.
Oh, sure. No, you've already showed me that. Like to even get to as far as we got before the ground breaks, there's definitely layers. But I mean, as far as just the application process goes, right? Because this is all this is. You're just giving them the application.
It's a provisional application.
Okay.
That's the provisional application, just kind of like, or a conditional, what they call it here in Illinois. So that's like the first piece where then you're given a license, and then you have like 2 years to get the whole thing done.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then you're saying there's other provisions that you weren't sure of yet, but that's
Yeah,
for the
because they haven't told us.
owners.
So like we're just kind of watching the
Okay.
news, but you don't know what you don't know until the regulators tell you what it is.
Damn. That's the fun thing about this fucking cannabis game, right? The law keeps changing. Cannabis/hemp.
Oh yeah, that's going to be really interesting when that new farm bill comes up.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I got something fun to show you at the end of the show. But we got some Michigan news.
Cool. Let's go to Michigan. In Michigan, K-12 students could take medical marijuana on school premises under a new bill. And look, you can also use CeraVe. Okay.
Hey.
So students enrolled at K-12 schools in Michigan will be allowed to take medical and CBD infused cannabis products under new legislation introduced last week. And so Democrat representative of the House would make it legal to ingest edibles, beverages, and other products with low amounts of marijuana while on school or on a bus.
Some other state just passed that. I think like
Might have been Colorado.
Maybe. So, I mean, I know because there was jokes on High at 9. They were like, oh, the kids are going to be in the back of the bus, medicating. And it's like, I really hate when people like imply like this is how it's going to happen like right away, right? Because even like the business side of things, I thought I'd be able to go to the store one day and buy quarter pounds and just flip them. But it doesn't work that way. Just like I don't buy 6-packs at the store and go sell them at concerts for $5 a can. There's
Regulations.
Business.
There's
rules.
You don't have a liquor license.
Yeah. But there's like a level of success you can hit where you better have that liquor license, because before that, it's all on the ground, right? It's all on your table. But the whole point of all this is to be so well known that people buy your product, buy your brand, and we just don't think past that part, because at that point you're going to be a store, you're going to be a securities thing, with a payroll, and like you said, then following the regulations. Besides taxes, your employee benefits and all the other stuff that goes with business that we don't think about. But it's
unregulated. It's unregulated, so that's why they don't think about it. Yeah.
And kids being medicated at school, I don't think they're gonna be like popping like bong hits. They're gonna probably have a vape pen or some sort of a
no. They aren't even allowed vape pens. It was just oral edibles, and so they say designated staff member has to be the administrator of the product. They can't even administer it themselves. Just kind of like how you have kids that have ADD or something and have to go to the nurse to take a pill. They aren't allowed to take it themselves. And then it did just say edibles, beverages, and other products. So maybe other products are the inhalables. But it's HB 5603, and it is referred to the Committee for Regulatory Reform. Did you know, though, that Michigan's the OG of the Midwest medical, at least, or just cannabis legalization market? Oh, yeah. Medical cannabis was legalized in Michigan in 2008.
Damn, I didn't realize that. I just know that they had that concert for John Sinclair there that John Lennon actually fucking hosted.
Yep. And so, but that's 2008. That's why there's a lot of good grow talent.
Yeah.
And great prices in Michigan, because they didn't legalize it until 11 years later. So for 11 years, they had a lot of little small growers, caretakers growing 72 plants for their patients, because they didn't really have like a lot of stores. It wasn't commercialized in the limited market sense like they did here in Illinois. 6 or 7 years after that.
Well, in Michigan's just a huge culture as far as like, besides John Sinclair, there's the Hash Bash. If you want to read a really sad story, you can look up the Rainbow Bridge. It was a farm that was raided that the owners were killed in. So yeah, Michigan, they definitely have a history. And I think as we evolve into this business side of things, dude, like once we break ground and I'll start coming out there and just to, be a part of things when I can, it's interesting to see like the culture evolve from festivals to CannaCons. There's like the vibe of like, it's illegal, so we all must like use secret names and secret handshakes to Oktoberfest one day. And
we're not there yet, but we'll get there.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? So the culture is definitely going to change, the perception, the people, because your average consumer of cannabis is just a fucking average American or person,
Typically.
Nothing special.
Unlike Senator Chuck Grassley. That guy is what I would refer to as a piece of work.
Yes,
And
sir.
so this is out of the Ganjapreneur. Senator Grassley says Congress should prioritize scheduling fentanyl-related substances over cannabis banking. That is Senator Chuck Grassley, a Republican out of Iowa. And he wrote a letter to the Senate Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer, arguing that the chamber should prioritize a measure to permanently schedule fentanyl before the Safer Banking Act, which would normalize cannabis banking.
And this is just fear mongering again, because like we know legalization can help reduce with the fentanyl crisis and opioid crisis. Access to something, safe access to good product gives people good decisions. And I don't think these guys care if their fentanyl's been tested when they go to, they're just doing their fentanyl. But
Yep. And then I like Ganjapreneur. They do nice quotes and shout out to them. But in this letter to Grassley, he claims that the banking bill could equip criminal actors with resources to expand their influence. And for years, the law enforcement community has raised concerns about the safe banking and its prodigy are the boon for the very cartels that are pumping fentanyl into our street. Despite its relation to Title 18, the legislation has largely bypassed critical eyes of the Senate Judiciary Committee, and the current text does little to resolve the Justice Department's enforcement concerns.
We got I at 9 watching, and what up, Jason? Jason's a Republican, and he must get a lot of shit. Actually, he's got his own channel. But like for me, I'm like, why do Republicans like to shoot themselves in the dick? Like this whole argument about the fentanyl, you know what I'm saying? But everything that's been going on, like with this whole ouster of the House Speaker, right? They try to put blame on the Dems, right? When it was Matt Gaetz who stood up and said, hey, we don't agree with keeping the government going forward. Like just the dumbest shit these guys are doing. And I just really fear states are going to legalize it first before it even happens federally sometimes.
States should legalize it the states have been legalizing it first, but federally, if it goes to Schedule 3, great. And then there's going to be things that they can do to exempt them from needing to register with the DEA. And again, Schedule 3 for a plant makes no sense. Schedule 3 for cannabinoid medical, products, not even like vape cartridges, but even more like, medical, as if it would be like an inhaler or something custom made for a particular ailment pursuant to a doctor's prescription and guidance. That wouldn't be a plant, and so like that's the thing. Like where else in Schedule 1 is it just a plant that has been labeled as a drug, as opposed to like heroin, which is it's not like poppies are in Schedule 1. No, they took the poppies, they extracted them, they made them into something, and then I think even heroin's a synthetic, to be honest. But I'm not a chemist, so I don't know. And that is
heroin was made by Bear. Thank you, Bear. But no, that's true. But then again, also cigarettes and alcohol. Like,
where are they on the schedule, right?
Seriously, hell, or even Benadryl, dude. When I take Benadryl,
drugs, it's not a plant. Like, where is a plant on the scheduling besides weed? Is there another plant in there? Maybe peyote, but is it peyote that's in there, or is it the actual psychedelic substance that's in the, like, it's not, it doesn't say mushrooms, it says psilocybin, right? And so they shouldn't have cannabis be in there. They should have THC or something like that be in there. But messed up.
Probably because of the stuff that we're about to talk about next from Ohio. I mean, and I wonder who's behind this one.
Yeah, this one would be interesting to figure out who is behind this in Ohio. Ohio is because they have 4 weeks to go before Ohio hopefully legalizes it. Tune in on next week's episode. We're going to see if we can find any polls on these ballot initiatives that are going on in Ohio. It's sometimes more difficult to find state polling, but we're getting into like the last month before the vote. So sometimes you can find state polls. We'll try to find those for you next week.
Yeah. But Ohio seems to be on the go, and we got lots of viewers in Ohio.
Ohio, shout out to Ohio.
Yay. The campaign marijuana legalization campaign sends cease and desist letters to TV stations airing opposition ads filled with lies. That's amazing, dude.
Yep. It's incredibly disappointed that anytime Ohio voters are lied to, says Tom Herron, a spokesperson for the Coalition to Regulate Marijuana Like Alcohol, but it's clear our opposition sees no other way to defeat issue 2. And then 2 television ads from the organization Weed-free kids, because think of the children. That would be great if that's their tagline. Weed-free kids, because
Seriously.
think of the children. Contain multiple false or misleading statements about the proposed law. Unlike candidate ads, wrote lawyer Donald McTeague of a law firm, organizations like Weed Free Kids don't have the right to command the use of broadcast facilities. And because stations aren't required to run issue ads, your station bears responsibility for its content when you grant access to those people that want to buy ads. See, if you just say it about a person, that's one thing. But when you say it about an issue, I guess that's not political speech.
I'd imagine it has to be truth when you're talking about an issue, because like this is awesome. In one title called Flatline, a series of warnings flash across the screen as the sound of an EKG machine beeps sporadically. A steady beep at the end of the spot suggests heart failure or death. Thank you.
Yeah. And then it says marijuana history was made because somebody died from weed. Yeah.
See, right? Oh my God, that would be exactly
even that lady or the person who died at the True Leaf factory. Was it True Leaf or was it GTI? That was asphyxiation. That was, not powder. The weed. That was an allergic reaction and like unsafe and unsanitary working conditions.
100% lack of air circulation. But the plant itself, and again, out to everybody who smoked like a whole bunch, and then you probably take an edible, and then the room's spinning on you. You're not going to die. It's okay.
Yeah, you're not going to die. It'll just feel like it for a minute.
And if you do, that's the one thing I kept telling myself was like, my family's going to be so rich because I'll be the first person to die from marijuana, and they're going to take my body and
making the news.
But this is sad. And then the other one is a candy ad, the opposition campaign. Oh, by the way, it's almost Halloween, so don't wait for that bullshit.
Yeah, candy. The opposition says stores can be flooded with candy laced with a drug that puts kids at risk. And then it has a background of products called Stony Patch Kids, which resemble Sour Patch Kids and completely ignore the regulations imposed by Ohio law that says you're not allowed to do that.
Right. Or the fact that these people are going to be 18 and over, 21 and over, whatever line they set. These kids aren't walking in the stores going, oh, I accidentally bought Sour Patch gummies with 10 milligrams. Ridiculous.
Issue 2 allows for marijuana manufacturers to market their edibles as sweets as candy without any safeguards for children, the opposition ad claims. This means that many children will be poisoned by lookalike products. That is just not even accurate. There are regulations about what you're allowed to do if you have a license.
Right. And again, like safe access rules, this would all like benefit the consumer, but these guys are preventing it. They're enabling bad behavior from both law enforcement and society.
Yep. They pointed to language that would allow regulators to set rules to prevent advertisements that are false, misleading, targeted to minors, promote excessive use, or that promote illegal activity. Mm-hmm. So they're just straight up lying to you to get you to vote to keep weed as a crime in Ohio.
It's ridiculous. And who do you think? This is either the law enforcement or the Republican Party sponsoring the anti-heads. I get no,
I think it's law enforcement. Yeah. And then other people that hate weed.
Yeah.
The Ohio chapter of the Academy of Pediatrics.
Oh, is that what? Oh, Jesus.
That's one of them. Yeah. The Associations of Health Commissioners, 112 health departments. So the health departments don't like them.
Because, like the police, will be like, we don't know who to judge. We won't be able to tell who the bad guys are.
Well, here's some report as to what the polling is. Survey by the campaign last month said 3 in 5 voters said that they support this. So it might be a 60% vote to legalize. Here are some of the key provisions on the November 7th ballot. Nice. It will legalize possession of up to 2.5 ounces of cannabis of adults 21 and older, and they can have 15 grams of concentrates. You can do home grow, 6 plants per personal, 12 plants per household, sales tax of 10%. And then they divide that up by saying some, 36%, will go to social equity and jobs programs. Some, 36%, will go to localities that allow adult use marijuana enterprises in their area. And then 25% will go to education and substance misuse programs. And 3% will be for administrative costs and implementing the systems.
I wonder about their market out there. High at 9 say they don't even sell eighths. So I mean, is that gonna be a thing they're gonna allow?
Yeah, Ohio's got some weird stuff. Like they have
Yeah.
some. They don't sell eighths. They sell a very strange amounts that they are. And I looked at it once. I can't remember what
1/10.
it was it's all in tenths, not eighths. Yeah. Okay. It was very peculiar. I'm like, that's weird.
Well, because you can't use the metric system. Well, what's the issue, Ohio? I mean, it's not very European. The whole America uses the metric system.
And then here you go. 50 adult use cannabis retailer licenses for social equity. Will Miggy qualify in Ohio? Tune in 2025.
Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, let's hope. Individual municipalities can opt out. Employers could add policies to prohibit consuming for adult use. They can't block existing medical marijuana firms, even if they wanted to co-locate their adult use areas. And then they will have to provide addictive services for cannabis.
Okay, sounds all standard. But now let's just watch where the money goes when they get that first $900 million in taxes.
Yeah. Well, let's just see how it is going to go. In 2015, they rejected a measure that would have legalized it, but that was a very strange one with just a monopoly that was going to happen. And so hopefully this one, it appears it'll still be limited, but hopefully that limit will allow for, because for my math, there should be at least 500 dispensaries in Ohio. Currently, there's 144. I hope that they don't give all the medical dispensaries an additional one, and that because that would double it to like 288. I think they should have to apply again, because they already have one, and then 50 social equity ones. So even if you take the 50 social equity ones and you put it on to the 144, that's less than 200. You are going to need about 500 dispensaries in Ohio because it has approximately the same population as Illinois to have one dispensary per 25,000 Ohioans.
Oh my God! So that's another locked-in state, small market. Well, not small market, small license.
Huge market.
Yeah, huge market. Wow.
Dude. Oh yeah, that would be like that state with how many they have. Those dispensaries would be doing like $2 million a month.
And this is the thing about the business that kind of leading into. I spent my week watching a lot of like money movies. I watched The Big Short the other day. It blew my mind for the first time. I was like, oh shit! So that's
you hadn't seen that before.
I was part of it, right? Because like I had a house and shit during that time frame, and I understand how like people were getting approved for everything. I had 2 houses at one point, and then we flipped one, then we went under on another one because of the flexible rate mortgage stuff. But
your arm reset.
Oh, it was so hot.
Yeah.
But but the thing was, I learned a lot of that one, and then I finished watching the one on Uber about the CEO there. How he was a founder. And all these big companies that we talk about, really, there is no ingenuity. There is no one person really, for the most part, behind anything, right? Bill Gates bought the code off of for DOS off some poor schlub. Elon Musk bought everything. Tesla, PenPal. None of these guys invented anything, but they knew where to put their money. They knew how to shuffle it. And then now we got the High Time CEO going on, the fraud case going on with that.
Let's play some Name That Strain and then do the fraud of High Times. Cool. Continuing our, it's October, so it's a Halloween strain.
There we go. It's a very, very, very lovely nug. Hand trimmed.
Very lovely nug. Yeah. Of course, it's hand trimmed. Orange. And beautiful orange hairs. Not a hint of purple, but lots of lime greens and some dark greens.
Do we know if it's a sativa? It's a sativa, right?
Let me pull up its notes and we will kind of go over that. Let's see. This one is a 70% sativa, and it's a cross between Killer Queen and Jack the Ripper. It's by Subcool's The Dank.
Lots of good guesses. Not green crack, not swamp thing, not pumpkin spice. Though, is there? I wonder if there's a pumpkin spice. You better nail that one. Just be some nasty ass. I really don't like pumpkin spice.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. Pumpkin spice, I bet, would really blow up for like 1 month out of the year.
Just 1 month. I saw a meme. Do you remember? God damn it! What's the Western with Mel Brooks and Gene Wilder?
That is Blazing Saddles.
Blazing
So like
Saddles.
some of the parents, they're getting the parents, but yeah. So Killer Queen and
Yeah.
Jack the Ripper are the parents. It's a 70% sativa. It's by Subcool's The Dank.
Then
And of course, it's Halloween themed. And so like the name of this weed is kind of like spooky.
October.
It's
Also,
October, yeah.
check your kids' candies.
That's right. Somebody might be trying to lace your children's candy.
Might find a whole eighth in that bitch.
Yeah, right.
Little nugs.
Anybody? Well, let's talk about this while we talk about that. Okay, and so we can go to this one. That one I think is on yours because like mine is.
Oh yeah, you want to move it down?
Yeah, no, go ahead. You can move it around. But the SEC has accused High Times CEO Adam Levin of securities fraud. So the Securities and Exchange Commission filed a complaint against High Times chief executive officer alleging securities fraud. And everybody that we've talked to in the industry said, finally, boy, that took them a long time.
Well, dude, you were talking about this 2 years ago when they were doing the round of bullshit, like single investors, right? Where he did that infamous, like, I'm gonna do a bong grip in front of all the investors, and I'm cool and part of the culture. And that's the funny thing about the culture, if whatever there is out there, because like High Times, we all think High Times is the culture epitome of. And like even when I was young and wanted to write for them, I was like, they're a bunch of hippies. But then there's a business side of that place, that company that you don't see and you don't know. And it blows my mind that you have actual grown-ups in suits that are behind all the rigmarole, pretty much, the investments, because stories don't pay.
That's
for
how money works. Like money is organized.
Yeah.
And so like, it's what blows my mind is like when
we got it.
What's that? We got it. Okay, there you go. Jack Skeleton. We will take a small break from reporting on High Times to talk a little bit about Subcool's The Dank and Jack Skeleton. And let's see, we also have one from Leafly, products of his. Okay, but he's the guy who created the genetics behind that.
Subcool?
And Subcool. Let me just pull up the Jack Skeletons. So do we have that from name that strain? There's the Leafly. So there we go. Jack Skeleton, Subcool's The Dank, 70% sativa cross, Killer Queen, and Jack the Ripper. TGA sought out the most heavily resinous phenotype that he could find for each parent. And with a fruity citrus and diesel aroma, Jack Skeleton is an intense psychoactive experience with creativity and introspection. So watch out for getting paranoid on this one. But it is Jack Skeleton. And then flowers in 8 weeks and thrives in sea of green setups.
Hey, did you see Kevin Jordy's out in freaking like Afghanistan right now?
I saw some posts from him. Yeah, I didn't know he was in Afghanistan, but that's
somewhere over there. Thoughts and prayers, bro. I hope you're safe out there.
Well, he's doing it for the plant. I hope he's in a safe place, and I hope he gets some great genetics.
Oh yeah, I mean it's gotta be an amazing trip. But then the shit that's going on now, I'd be like, oh, fuck, why did I pick this time?
Yeah, I know, right? But genetics. That's probably why he picked it. But back to High Times. Boy, does this guy suck. And so So they were doing a Reg A Plus offering in March of 2018, and they were going to sell shares. They were going to sell at $11 each. And they said, and the SEC alleges that in 2020, the company failed to update audited financial statements. Since the company didn't file these statements, it's no longer allowed to sell the stock. So instead of like updating, you're going to.
I think your mic is not, bro. I think your mic. There you go. It was like going wobbly or something. It was like faded out.
All right. Well, nobody really cares. Nobody really cares about like stocks and manipulation and Reg A Plus and all that type of stuff, unless you like money. And if you like money, I don't know if you'd be tuning into this.
Well, this is the thing. Again, you talked about this 2 years ago when he did that. You're like, I can't see how he's getting away with this. And for me, being I don't know, what do you call it? The normal guy, the average Joe, ignoramus. I was like, I don't know, I don't care. I mean, like if I
Not a
collect,
finance bro. Yeah.
yeah, what do you mean it's illegal to collect $11 from 100 people or 1,000 billion people? You know, I mean,
No, you mean it's legal, but it's regulated. You're just
mhm.
not allowed to do that type of stuff. And that's one of the reasons why they were supposed to have their audited financials to price the share of their stock, but they didn't update the price. They didn't update their financials, yet they continued to sell the stock despite not having the authority to do so. They
Yeah.
sold 13 million of securities in this from the time that it expired. So they weren't allowed to sell those.
Well, you know what's even worse about the stuff they're doing? Because even how they were doing negotiations, because they bought Dope magazine, which was a really good magazine at the time, appealed to a lot of people. The owner got, I think, a small cash supplement, but like $1 million in stock, which is probably like 50 cents now for High Times, right? Like it was just arbitrary. It's just some made up shit. If they keep liquid, diluting it with what they were doing, all the other stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm just glad that they have the. So if I go there, will I go to the next page? I have to hit up and down for the pages. Too bad that I can't download the actual complaint or try to print it. It would be fun to read. They have the jurisdiction, one of the first statements that he put in a federal complaint, and then the summary, the defendant, the related individuals, and here's the allegations. The High Times offering. High Times initially qualified to conduct a Reg A offering, and so there's rules. And like if we wanted to put together one of these offerings to sell stock in our company, there's shit you have to do to comply with that. But we aren't doing that at all. Like the transaction that we made is an exempt one, but yeah, because like he's going to outside investors. We really weren't doing that.
Sure. Well, and then go ahead.
But we did make a valuation. I mean, like we did DCF analysis to arrive at net present value of cash flows. But
Okay.
why wouldn't we have? Yeah.
Right. And then that's the thing, right? It's like, now we got the license, you got the evaluations and the models going on, and these are things that you need to do in the steps and processes to actually having a business. There's that sexy music in the background again, brown chicken brown, bro. But that's what business is about. It's just like these layers of agreements, the supply chain, all this other stuff that you're just like, I just want to go buy a quarter pound of weed if I can sell it to some people.
Yeah, that's fine. But even if you're doing it with tomatoes, if you're doing it like with corn, like there are a lot of complex financial instruments for selling corn. Right. You usually partner with somebody who's got like a finance degree, and they call them like grain marketing. And so that grain marketing, so like one day it's completely feasible to think finance guys are going to be talking to the growers directly and talking about not grain marketing, but bud marketing contracts and like hedging futures and all those types of stuff. But then like weed is a commodity if you can have those types of futures on weed.
But isn't the SEC's angle on this one is because they were open traded too, right? Like they were on the exchange.
They were conducting actual raises of stock. So they were like offering stock to sale to the public pursuant to Regulation A+. And that is different than doing a private offering that's of exempt securities under Reg D. And so theirs was much more public than what we do. And then what I would typically do would be, here's Reg D, here's a safe harbor, make an offering on that. Unless you're getting to something where you're like, oh, these guys want to go public. Okay, let's get more lawyers because I haven't done this before and figure this out.
Is that something kind of like how, like, I would say, I hate to say it, but how Paul Stanford lost his name, right? Like he went in business with some people, but then they on the back end, because this was all they were on the market, or at least his company wasn't, but they diluted the stock so much that his was worth nothing, right? Like
they can dilute stock. They can also do this other one where they can capital call your ass. But if he lost control because he doesn't understand the corporate shit, that's kind of his fault. Like, so one of the things that I have to do between now and the future when we're operational and the state will approve changes of ownership is draft an operating agreement that I understand.
Okay.
I'm not going to not do that, because like that's how the company works.
And that's I don't know how he got shafted, but
he probably didn't read his operating agreement or his shareholder agreement.
People
don't read contracts. It is hilarious that people don't read contracts, but they don't. Did you read your mortgage?
No.
You just signed it, didn't you?
I don't even read hotel agreements. Matter of fact, that's why I got kicked out of a hotel one time. I'm like, who fucking reads these? You know, I'm just not going to do any. Got caught. My wife was smoking a cigarette or something in a hotel room and got booted.
That'll be $5,000. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a boot at the time. But we got some news in Illinois. Wait, how do I say Illinois? Now,
if you want to actually be in Illinois, you don't pronounce the S. But if you call it Illinois, we just think you're not from there.
Oh, yeah. All right. So Illinois, don't you know?
Oh, don't you know? Illinois officials. Let's go ahead and put that on up there. Boom.
Yeah.
There you are.
Highlighted unprecedented growth of legal marijuana market as cannabis revenue outpaces alcohol. Good deal.
Yep.
So like they're just buying a lot of weed.
Yeah. And so they brought in $451 million for the state, $451 million to Illinois. So Illinois' programs, their roads, their bridges, their schools are gonna get better because we have $459 million more flowing in from taxes because people are buying a lot of weed. More so than alcohol. Alcohol is a lot more sales. Like you can go anywhere and acquire alcohol basically if you're over 21, but there's just like 200 shops or less that are operational in the state of Illinois where you can go acquire cannabis, and 316 million from alcohol, 451 million from cannabis. I think we need to raise the alcohol tax in Illinois.
That's what I was thinking about just now was, you know, here in Washington State, the taxes are seeded apples, which is our main stock. But is it actually the amount of the plant itself being massively consumed that's outpacing the alcohol, or is it just the damn taxes? Right, the 25, whatever, you know, who's getting taxed?
It's taxes. It's just like a lot of tax. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's tax the alcohol more.
We need to tax that alcohol more. Licenses issued by county. So yeah, there's more, and so like there it is. 200 conditional licenses were issued in December 22. The department also finalized rules, and then more than 2,600 individuals applied for 55 social equity dispensary licenses. And we got one of those.
Yay, us.
Yeah. Hey, we got lucky. And then this is the other one. 80% of owners in C-suites, and so there's a striking lack of diversity. White people make up 88% of majority owners and 80% of C-suite executives. That is not going to be the case for our company.
Yeah,
we will not be white owned. There will be some white ownership.
Yeah.
But Miggy, I think you don't qualify because like you're Latino, right? I'd have to check Illinois, but I also know that our investor, he also doesn't qualify.
No, I definitely 100% no. God, I can't wait to open a store.
Well, you know, stores like that should be the ones they want to open because it goes with their political paradigm that they want to have more diversity at all levels of dispensary ownership, employment, and products.
No, it's going to be awesome, especially in Peoria. Hello, Peoria. Can't wait to come visit you.
Oh, yeah. The Hello Peoria store is actually on 3. And so I'm on 4. Yeah, if I could show you. I'll take a picture because I'm going to get a sink installed over there. And I think the plumber needs to get into the Hello Peoria office, but we'll see.
Oh, that's awesome. So you guys are part of like they're what do you call it? The people who are Parks and Recs or the...
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So the city actually has Suite 420 down the hall. And I bitch them out all the time. Oh. Yeah, it's great. Because I had to be Suite 404 after I found out that they were Suite 420. So that basically means like, and I'm kind of a nerd. So the reason why it's Suite 404 is office not found.
Yes.
It's like, you know, you got a 404 error. What's that? Web page not found.
Not found, baby. That's a good one, dude. I love it. We got some international news.
Oh, the international news. That is some good international news. And then this means that Cookies Amsterdam might actually be coming here soon. Oh, I blew that one. I shouldn't have done that. Oops.
Cannabis pilot startup phase to launch in December, over 3 years late. 3 years.
Yeah. Hey, welcome to Cannabis Time. It takes fucking forever. Yeah.
Seriously, though. So what's going on here? The Dutch government expects the startup phase to last a maximum of 6 months. That will be followed by a transitional phase. So still, they're not even going to be opened up yet.
Right. And so there's going to be a startup phase where they have 3 of them. The closed coffee shop chain will start on December 15th of 23, Most recent plans has 2 legal growers are going to be ready to deliver coffee shops for the fourth quantity of 23, not Cookies Amsterdam, because they need to get, but then I think they are one of the 10. So there are these 10 licenses that are out there. And then the first 2 will be ready to open. And then that's enough to start their initial phase of the experiment. In Brenda and Tilburg. Brenda is a municipality of 180,000. That would be 1 dispo per 180,000 people. That would be worth like $5 million a month or something, here, if that's what they had. And then Tilburg is like 217,000 residents.
I'm just surprised that legacy brands from that area haven't decided to, venture out more and expand. I mean, Sensi Seeds were from out there, all the old cannabis cups. Hell, everybody just talks about Amsterdam, right? Like, there's got to be old legacy growers and people that we don't know about that. Are they just too busy being underground, or I don't know?
They just move so slow. Like, Canadian producer Aurora Cannabis pulled its plug with the agreement of Dutch producer Growery because they had an agreement from 2021, and 2 years later, nobody's operational. So yeah, agreements will fall through if regulators don't approve them, or it takes 2 years. I mean, that's one of the things where when the regulators need to have enough people working for them to not only inspect and to make sure of compliance, but to allow for the transfer of the licenses.
Yeah, no, and again, it's not the business I thought it was going to be when you're 18 and thinking, oh man, when this plant's legal, I want to make so much money. It's going to be like a New Jersey weed man, like, I mean, he's doing everything. He did everything from the ground up, but he's beyond that part now. I bet he's beyond any plant touching thing right now, but I don't know.
Yep. That's right. We got one more crazy story out of, and this is a story out of Michigan. Michigan's a big city. A big state when it comes to sales. They do like $100 million more a month than Illinois. So like Illinois might do 130 million a month. Michigan will be like 230 million. And their former chair of the marijuana board has been sentenced to over 5 years in federal prison for bribery.
That's 70.
Out of the Justice Department. So justice.gov is reporting this, meaning the feds.
But this 70-year-old Rick Vernon Johnson, and I wanted to feel bad for this guy until I got to the part where it said that he's busted for favors and bribes that he asked for. Like, you clearly went out of your way. And using the alias Batman. Oh my God.
I'm Batman. Pay Batman $100,000. And that's the thing. He has to do prison. He's 70 years old. He has to do prison for over 5 years, right? Because 55 months, I think, that's almost 5 years. I think 60 months is 5 years. And he's fined another 50 grand. And he has to hand back over the 110,000 that he stole. Well, he bribed. He was bribed. So he didn't get that much money.
No.
And he has to go away for years and pay money he doesn't have. What a moron. He would be back.
I'm just saying, I can't feel bad for him, man. Like, it's just crazy shit, man. What you get, boy?
But it's bribes. You know what the best part about that story is? The Fed stopped him. So the Fed didn't arrest the guy for the cannabis game. They didn't prosecute him with that. It was bribery that they prosecuted him with. Yeah.
We had here in Washington State during the medical times, during that transitional phase, the guy who owns Have a Heart, the IRS, actually approached him and said, "Hey, for 100,000, I can make all your problems disappear." And sure as shit, the dude showed up with the case and set him up. And so like the IRS cracked down on him, and that was a good thing. So like when shit like that happens, you're like, this is what legalization is. It's going to be paperwork and CEOs and just this non-sexy farmer stuff, which that's the all part we enjoy. But I wanted something to share with you, man, because I always find it funny when people talk about tech and cannabis, right? Like when people talk about tech and cannabis, it's mostly like nothing innovative, nothing new, and so. But I found these guys pick. So hopefully they'll come to Illinois, right? So this joint here, it's pretty wild. It's hollowed out and it's grounded. And I got one right here. Oops, we'll put the 2 and 2 together. So the thing about these joints, oh, there you are, camera. The thing about these joints is they're guaranteeing the burn, which I always think it's a big boast when people say like, oh, guaranteed evil burn. But these guys, this is going to be my 10th joint that I bought. Check this out. So they got a little butt plug that comes with them called a butt plug, but you'll see. Pop this out. Get out of your hole. Come on, you too good for your home? Oh, you know what? Oh, here it goes. So check this out. That goes into the center of the joint. It pops out of there. And so reading an article on these guys, how do they do this? How do they perfect this consistent burn? They're using a air pressure and a laser for like density. And they are sure as shit. Again, this is my 10th joint with these guys. And the way they've grown these or packed these things, and I imagine the quality of the cannabis matters too, but the consistency has always been a nice even burn down, which I'm impressed. Like I just like joints to be on the go, you know, and there's always canoeing involved or ones that just slap really well, but these guys just ash so well, and it's the way it's packed, and it's the way. And so it's called PIC Platform. It's the name of the tech, and they're actually going to be outsourced into like other companies to use their technology. And I gotta say, these guys are on point. Like it fucking works. 10 out of 10.
Let's get them licensed, and so they need a licensing agreement, and they can be everywhere. But that's part of the manufacturing process. So somewhere there is a licensed producer processor that has to make that joint pursuant to their state issue license. But then that technology can move from state to state substantially easier with a contract.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, and that's why I was bringing it up, because I think this PIC pre-roll so far has been the best I've seen sciencey type thing that actually is consistent. For me, in calibration, there's three things that make for quality. It's repeatability, reliability, and accuracy. And most of the time, you're only going to get 2 out of 3. And these guys so far, it's been on point every time. I'm just like, damn, this tech is going to go beyond other states for sure eventually.
Man, that is something else. But we've done it again. We've talked about cannabis legalization news for a whole hour. So thank you for enjoying our show. That's it. And if you want to catch Miggy and I, you know where we're going to be. Well, first, you can always just catch us on cannabis legalization news. If you are in the industry and you want to come on the program, go for it. We have this nice little social blue book that you can find right here. I guess I will share this live with the 229 people still hanging out with us. And shout out to all those people that are hanging out with us. We really appreciate you guys, and there is how you can find out more about our channel. 527,000 total fans. Main platform, of course, is Facebook, and then on YouTube we have about 47,000 subs and 475,000 over at Facebook. Hopefully Schedule 3 means that gets a little bit more play. But then the other place that you can find Miggy and I is over at MJ BizCon. We are going out there. I'm going to be taking care of that next week. We'll be there. It is November 29th through December 1st, and I will be there on the floor doing a lot of podcasts with Mita. Shout out to Mita. You can go see them at mita-az.org. We have done some great work with them over the course of the year. We did some Mita Unshackles in Maryland, and so there's the social equity spotlight that we had done with them in association with Collateral Base. And then they have socialequityeducation.com, which is an excellent training module that they've put together, and it's free. Check it out. And they even have here's the zip codes that if you qualify, if you went to a university for 2 out of 4 years in one of these, you will also qualify, and it is open right now for social equity applicants in Maryland. But that's Mita. We will be at their booth at MJ Biz. Miggy, you'll be there. I'll be there. And if you want to come on the podcast and be on in front of 527,000 fans, you can be there too.
Yeah, come on up. Looking forward to it. Really excited.
Me too, man. All right, we will be back next week with more news, and we have I have another video coming out, and I just shot another one, and then the producers want me to shoot one a week, so I'll probably another one here soon.
That's good for the algorithm, and hopefully Matt can make it next time. Hopefully he feels better.
Get better, Matt. Yeah, shout out to him, and then we'll have some more guests coming on, and maybe even you. All right. See you guys.